She was a hotel heiress who had everything money could buy, but was slowly dying inside from the pressure to be perfect. He was a single father and personal trainer who believed love was a luxury he couldn't afford. When Claire Whitmore collapsed on a gym treadmill, she never imagined the strong hands that caught her would belong to the man who would save her life and steal her heart. But their fairy tale romance was about to face the ultimate test when a single social media post threatened to destroy everything they'd built together. What happened next would either prove that love conquers all, or that some barriers are simply too high to cross. Will Claire choose her family's fortune over the man who showed her what real happiness feels like? And can Marcus protect his daughter from a world that sees their love as nothing more than a transaction? Subscribe now and tell me where you're watching from, because this story of forbidden love, family betrayal, and second chances will leave you believing in the power of true love all over again. The treadmill belt whirred beneath Claire's feet as sweat beaded on her forehead. The private gym was empty except for staff setting up for the morning rush. She pushed the speed button again, ignoring the burning in her chest. "I'm fine," she whispered to herself, the same words she'd been saying for months. The numbers on the display blurred together. Her vision tunneled. The elegant marble walls of the boutique gym seemed to close in around her. Claire gripped the handrails tighter, but her legs felt like rubber. She stumbled. Strong hands caught her before she could fall. The world steadied as someone guided her to a nearby bench. "Easy," a calm voice said. "Just breathe." Claire blinked, focusing on the man kneeling in front of her. He had kind eyes and wore a simple black gym shirt. His hands were steady as he checked her pulse at her wrist. "I'm okay," she managed, but her voice sounded far away. "When's the last time you ate?" he asked, offering her a water bottle from his equipment bag. Claire couldn't remember. Yesterday? The day before? "I had coffee this morning." He shook his head gently. "That's not food." He stood and walked to the treadmill, covering the blinking display with a towel before other staff members could see the numbers. The simple gesture protected her dignity without making a scene. "I'm Marcus," he said, returning to sit on the bench beside her. "I work here, and you just pushed yourself too hard." "Claire?" She sipped the water, grateful for its coolness. "I needed to—" "You needed to take care of yourself first." His voice was firm, but not harsh. "Everything else comes after that." They sat in comfortable silence as her breathing returned to normal. Claire studied his face. There was something about him that made her feel safe, like she didn't have to perform or prove anything. "You're okay," Marcus said finally, meeting her eyes. "We'll go slow next time. If you wanna, next time." Back in her office that afternoon, Claire stared out the window at the busy Manhattan street below. The hotel business hummed around her, but she felt disconnected from it all. "You look terrible," Nina said, walking in with a stack of papers. Nina Park had been Claire's assistant for 3 years, but somewhere along the way she'd become the closest thing Claire had to a real friend. "Thanks for the honesty," Claire said dryly. Nina set the papers down and crossed her arms. "When's the last time you slept?" "Actually slept, not just laid in bed thinking about quarterly reports." Claire opened her mouth to answer, then closed it. She couldn't remember that either. "You need a real routine," Nina continued. "Not these crash diets and extreme workouts. Something steady." "I don't have time for steady." "You don't have time to collapse either." Nina's expression softened. "Your mom's putting pressure on you again, isn't she?" Claire nodded. Eleanor Whitmore had opinions about everything, especially how her daughter should look and act in public. The family hotel business came with expectations. Image mattered. Maybe it's time to try something different, Nina suggested. That evening, Claire sat in her apartment with her phone in her hand. The gym's number was already dialed. She just had to press call. Marcus answered on the second ring. Downtown Fitness. Hi, this is Claire, from this morning. You helped me when I remember. Are you feeling better? His voice was warm, genuinely concerned. Yes, thank you. I was wondering, do you do private training sessions, early morning, before the gym opens? There was a pause. I can do that. What are you looking for? Something steady? She said, remembering Nina's words. I don't want to push too hard anymore. Good, that's the first step. She could hear him thinking. 6 in the morning, work for you? We start slow, focus on building habits instead of breaking yourself down. What about payment? Regular rates, nothing fancy, but I have rules. His voice became more serious. You eat breakfast after our sessions, you drink water throughout the day, you get 7 hours of sleep. Can you handle that? Claire almost smiled. No trainer had ever made demands about her sleep schedule. I can try. Trying's enough for now. See you tomorrow at 6. After hanging up, Claire set her alarm for 5:15. She placed a water bottle on her nightstand and picked out comfortable workout clothes. For the first time in months, she felt like she might actually sleep. The next morning was drizzly and gray. Claire stood outside the gym at 5:50, unsure if she'd made the right choice. At exactly 6, Marcus appeared at the door with a small towel. Right on time, he said, unlocking the door. How'd you sleep? 6 hours. It's a start. It's a victory. He handed her the towel. Small wins count. Inside, the gym felt different without the usual crowd. Peaceful. Marcus led her to a quiet corner with mats and simple equipment. We're starting with breathing, he said, demonstrating a pattern of deep inhales and slow exhales. Everything builds from here. For the next 45 minutes, they worked through basic movements. Marcus noticed when she tried to push too hard and gently redirected her focus. He talked about muscle memory and patience, about building strength from the inside out. Consistency beats intensity every time, he said as they finished. He handed her a written plan with simple exercises and reminders. This is your roadmap. Claire folded the paper carefully, like it held secrets. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Come back tomorrow and we'll see how you feel then. The second morning, Claire felt more confident. The breathing exercises had become natural overnight. As they finished their session, Marcus hurried toward the front of the gym with something small in his hand. Dad! A little voice called out. Claire stopped stretching and looked through the glass partition. A tiny girl with braided hair ran toward Marcus, one shoe on, one shoe off. He knelt down and caught her in a gentle hug, then carefully put on her missing shoe. There we go, princess, he said softly, all set for school. An older Hispanic man appeared behind the little girl carrying a backpack. Sorry we're late, Marcus. Traffic was crazy. No problem, Coach Luis. Thanks for picking her up. Marcus stood, straightening the girl's jacket. Ava, did you remember your library book? The little girl nodded eagerly, then pointed to the backpack. And my lunch money. Claire watched through the glass, unseen. The word Dad echoed in her mind. All her assumptions about Marcus shifted in that single moment. After they left, Claire walked outside in a daze. She found herself stopping at a bakery, buying 2 cupcakes with rainbow sprinkles. She didn't eat either one. Instead, she carried them home, thinking about the gentle way Marcus had tied his daughter's shoe. The next morning, Claire arrived early again. As she finished her session, timing aligned with school drop-off once more. This time, she was ready. Good workout today, Marcus said as they walked toward the lobby. Thank you for everything. Claire paused. Marcus? He turned, and she saw the little girl peeking out from behind his legs. I wanted to introduce myself properly. Claire knelt down to the girl's eye level, the way she'd seen Marcus do. I'm Claire. What's your name? The little girl glanced up at her dad. He nodded encouragingly. Ava, she whispered. That's a beautiful name. Claire reached into her bag and pulled out one of the cupcakes from yesterday. I bought this for my breakfast, but I think you might enjoy it more than I would. Ava looked at Marcus again. Can I, Dad? If you say thank you properly. Thank you, Miss Claire, Ava said, accepting the cupcake with careful hands. Just Claire is fine. As they parted ways, Ava turned and waved. Bye, Claire. The simple gesture followed Claire all the way to the subway. She found herself smiling at strangers, humming under her breath. Something had shifted in her world. That evening, Claire sat on her mother's terrace overlooking Central Park. Eleanor Whitmore moved around the space like a queen surveying her domain, adjusting flower arrangements and reviewing seating charts for an upcoming charity dinner. The Hamptons house will be perfect for the summer fundraiser, Eleanor said, not looking up from her papers. We'll need to discuss your escort situation soon. The Morrison boy would be suitable. Claire sipped her wine and said nothing. I saw the photos from last week's gallery opening, Eleanor continued. Your dress was lovely, but you look tired. Are you sleeping enough? I'm taking better care of myself, actually. I started working with a trainer. Eleanor's head snapped up. A trainer? Please tell me you're not doing one of those ridiculous boot camp things. The paparazzi would have a field day if they caught you looking disheveled. It's private sessions. Very early, very discreet. Good. Eleanor relaxed. Image matters, darling. Especially now with the hotel expansion. We can't afford any negative publicity. Later, alone in her apartment, Claire received a text from Nina. How's the training going? You looked happier today? She typed back. It's helping. I think I found something good. What do you want from it? The question lingered on her screen. Claire set her phone down and walked to her window, looking out at the city lights. What did she want? For the first time in years, she placed her running shoes by the door and set her bedtime for 10 o'clock. Small wins, Marcus had said. Consistency over intensity. Maybe that was enough for now. The fourth morning brought heavy rain. Claire stood under the awning outside the gym, wondering if Marcus would cancel. At exactly 6, he appeared with a compact umbrella. Ready to get wet? He asked with a smile. In this weather? Rain's just water. We're not made of sugar. They jogged slowly through empty streets, following Marcus's easy run-walk pattern. When a passing cab splashed them, they both burst out laughing. Claire couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed like that, full and free and completely unself-conscious. Marcus's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and grinned. Ava sent a voice message. Want to hear her morning joke? Please. He hit play. A little voice giggled through the speaker. Why don't elephants use computers? Because they're afraid of the mouse. The joke was terrible and perfect. Claire laughed so hard she had to stop running. She's working on her material, Marcus said proudly. Every morning, new joke. Sometimes they actually make sense. They finished their run soaked but triumphant. At the gym entrance, Marcus shook water from the umbrella. As he handed it back to Claire, their fingers brushed. The touch was electric, simple, and completely unexpected. They stood there for a moment, rain dripping from their hair, something unspoken passing between them. See you tomorrow? Marcus asked softly. Wouldn't miss it, Claire replied. That Saturday, Claire texted Marcus an offer to pay double for a weekend session. He responded quickly,
No extra pay needed. But if you want more time together, how about pancakes after our Sunday session? There's a diner in my neighborhood. Nothing fancy. Claire stared at the message for a long time before typing back. Yes, as long as we keep it simple. Simple is my specialty, came his reply. She fell asleep that night with her alarm set for Sunday morning, excitement fluttering in her chest like a bird trying to take flight. Sunday morning arrived with crisp autumn air and golden sunlight streaming through the gym windows. Claire felt lighter during their session, her movements more natural than they'd been in months. When they finished, Marcus grabbed a small backpack from his locker. "Ready for the real New York experience?" he asked. They walked 6 blocks to a small diner wedged between a laundromat and a bodega. The windows were fogged with steam, and the smell of bacon and coffee drifted onto the sidewalk. Claire had passed dozens of places like this but never stepped inside. "Dad!" Ava's voice called out as they entered. She sat in a corner booth, coloring with intense concentration. Her tongue poked out slightly as she worked on what looked like a purple dinosaur wearing a tutu. "Hey, Princess." Marcus slid into the booth across from her. "This is Claire, remember? From the gym." Ava looked up and waved shyly. "Hi, Claire. Do you like pancakes?" "I do," Claire said, sitting beside Marcus. "What are you drawing?" "Dino Ballerina," Ava explained seriously. "She's going to be in a show, but she's nervous because she's different from the other dancers." "Different can be beautiful," Claire said gently. Ava smiled and went back to her coloring. The waitress brought coffee without being asked, calling Marcus honey and ruffling Ava's hair. This was clearly their regular spot. "So what do you do?" Marcus asked as they waited for food. "Besides hotel stuff, I mean." Claire paused. Most people asked about her work because they wanted to know about her family's money or connections. Marcus seemed genuinely curious about her as a person. "I used to love reading," she said. "Poetry, novels, anything really. I wanted to be a teacher when I was little." "What stopped you?" "Life," she said simply. "Family expectations. The business needed someone, and I was the logical choice." "Do you miss it? Teaching?" She thought about it. "I miss feeling useful. Really useful. Not just managing things." Ava looked up from her drawing. "My teacher says books are like friends that never leave you alone." Claire smiled. "Your teacher sounds very smart." After breakfast, they browsed a small thrift shop next door. Claire found a worn copy of Charlotte's Web on the bookshelf and bought it for $3. "Could you sign this for me?" she asked Ava outside the shop. "I can't write my whole name yet," Ava said solemnly. "Just Ava is perfect." The little girl carefully wrote her name inside the front cover, her tongue poking out in concentration again. When she finished, she handed the book back proudly. "Now it's special," she declared. Coach Luis appeared on the sidewalk, wearing a Mets jersey and carrying a newspaper. "Look who's eating carbs," he teased Marcus, nodding toward the diner. "I thought you only ate protein powder and vegetables." "Sunday's different," Marcus replied easily. Luis studied Claire with friendly interest. "You're the early morning client, right? Marcus talks about you. Good things, I hope. He says you're a quick learner. High praise from this guy." Luis clapped Marcus on the shoulder. "He doesn't give compliments easy." As they prepared to part ways, Ava tugged on Claire's sleeve. "Will you still be here next Sunday?" she asked quietly. Claire looked at Marcus, who nodded almost imperceptibly. "If your dad says yes," Claire told her. "I say yes," Marcus said softly. Walking to the subway, Claire felt something she hadn't experienced in years: belonging. Not because of her name or her money, but because someone had chosen to include her in their ordinary, beautiful Sunday morning. Monday brought a surprise. Claire arrived at her session carrying a bag of new towels she'd bought for the gym. The old ones were worn thin, and she'd noticed Marcus always made sure she got the best of what they had. "You didn't have to do this," Marcus said, but he looked pleased. "I wanted to." Coach Luis emerged from his office as they were talking. "Towels. Perfect timing." He took the bag gratefully. "You know, your dad's foundation once kept our doors open during a rough patch. Maybe 5 years ago? Small gyms like ours, we don't always make it without help." Claire felt the world tilt slightly. "My dad? Richard Whitmore, right? His foundation gave us a grant when our lease doubled overnight. No publicity, no photo ops. Just help when we needed it." Luis smiled. "Good man. Quiet about his giving. But it made all the difference." That afternoon, Claire called Nina from her office. "Did Dad fund small gyms?" she asked without preamble. "He funded lots of things quietly," Nina replied. "Why?" "Marcus works at a place Dad helped. I had no idea." "Your father believed in supporting communities, not just causes that would get him recognition. He would have liked that you found your way there on your own." That night, Claire opened her father's old desk in her apartment. In the bottom drawer, she found a folder labeled Community Grants. Page after page of small donations. Youth programs, neighborhood gyms, literacy centers. Places that helped real people in real ways. She touched his old cufflinks, feeling a bridge form between her world and Marcus's. Her father would have understood what she was beginning to feel. Thursday morning brought their first kiss. They were cooling down after running the full Riverside loop, a distance Claire never thought she'd manage. The sunrise painted the water golden, and she felt strong and proud and completely herself. "I can't believe I just did that," she said, breathing hard but smiling. "I can," Marcus replied. "You're tougher than you think." They sat on their usual bench, watching early commuters cross the bridge in the distance. "Marcus?" Claire turned to face him. "I look forward to this more than anything else in my week. More than galas or board meetings or any of the things I'm supposed to love." He studied her face carefully. "What are you saying?" Instead of answering with words, she leaned forward and kissed him. It was gentle, questioning, full of hope and nervousness. When they broke apart, his hand came up to touch her cheek. "I want to be careful here," he said quietly. "Ava's been through changes before. I need to know you're serious about this, about us." "I want to go slow," Claire said. "For her sake, for all of us." He nodded and pressed his forehead against hers. "Slow works for me." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun rise over the water, something precious and fragile beginning between them. The following week, Claire invited Marcus to a small wine tasting on the hotel's rooftop. It was for staff only, not press, a chance for him to see her world without the pressure of formal events. "You sure about this?" he asked as they rode the elevator up. "I want you to meet Nina properly, and I want to see how you fit." The rooftop was strung with simple lights, and the kitchen staff had prepared small plates of food. Claire introduced Marcus as someone I hope you'll see more of. No titles, no explanations about his job, just his name and a smile. She watched him talk easily with the sous chef about post-workout nutrition, sharing a story about Ava's attempts to make healthy pancakes with protein powder. The kitchen staff laughed and offered recipes for kid-friendly smoothies. Nina approached Claire by the railing. "He's lovely," she said quietly. "He is. Your mother's going to have opinions. My mother has opinions about everything. That doesn't mean I have to live by them." Nina squeezed her hand. "Good for you." On the elevator ride down, Marcus was quiet. "What are you thinking?" Claire asked. That felt right.
he said simply. Easy. I was worried it would feel like performing, but it didn't. It didn't for me either. They shared a smile in the elevator's soft light, something settling between them. Saturday afternoon brought an unexpected challenge. Claire was grocery shopping when Marcus texted, "Tasha's here. All okay, but wanted you to know." Tasha was Ava's mother, a woman Marcus rarely mentioned except to say she wasn't ready for consistent parenting. Claire's heart clenched with worry, but she texted back, "Thank you for telling me. I'm here if you need anything." Later that evening, Marcus called. "How did it go?" Claire asked. "She brought Ava a gift and stayed for about 20 minutes. Made promises about doing better, seeing her more often." His voice was tired. "Ava was polite but careful. She's learned not to expect too much." "How are you handling it?" "Same way I always do. Boundaries, consistency. I told Tasha she's welcome to visit, but only if she can commit to regular times and follow through. Ava needs stability, not hope that gets crushed." "You're a good dad." "I try to be." They talked for another hour about ordinary things. Ava's latest artwork, a funny customer at the gym, Claire struggled to remember to eat lunch. The conversation felt natural, like they'd been doing this for years. Sunday brought their best day yet. They took the Q train to Coney Island, just the three of them. Ava wore a sun hat that kept sliding over her eyes, and Claire carried the bag of snacks while Marcus held Ava's hand on the crowded platform. At the boardwalk, they shared fries and rode the carousel twice. Claire bought Ava a silly hat with plastic lobsters attached to springs, and they took pictures by the pier. A passerby offered to take a photo of all three of them together, and they huddled close, grinning like they belonged to each other. On the train ride home, Ava fell asleep against Marcus's shoulder. Claire's hand rested on the seat near his, not quite touching, but close enough to feel connected. She watched the neighborhoods roll past the window and felt completely content. Neither of them noticed the stranger across the aisle who snapped a candid photo of them sharing leftover fries, looking like a family. Tuesday morning changed everything. Claire had wired Marcus a deposit to hold an apartment near Ava's school. He was planning to move at the end of the month and needed to secure the place before his payday on Friday. It was purely practical, a loan between friends that would be repaid in 3 days. She texted Nina. "Transferred $2,000 to help Marcus hold an apartment. He'll pay me back Friday after payday. Pure logistics." What Claire didn't know was that her cousin Bradley had access to family account notifications through his assistant's shared system. What should have been private information became gossip within hours. Bradley posted the Coney Island photo on his social media with a cruel caption. "Guest training sessions include family outings now. Trainer life, kept life." The post circulated among their social circle and was picked up by a gossip account that afternoon. Marcus saw the screenshot forwarded by a client around noon. His phone buzzed with the image, the three of them laughing over fries, Bradley's caption underneath, suggesting Marcus was being kept by a wealthy client. He stared at the screen for a long time, then turned his phone face down and didn't pick it up for the rest of the day. Wednesday's training session was agony. Marcus arrived exactly on time, but was distant, professional. Claire could feel the wall he'd built overnight. "Marcus, I saw the post. I'm so sorry." "Don't." His voice was flat. "Ava sees everything online eventually. Kids talk, her friends have phones. I won't have her life turned into a headline or a joke." "I can fix this. I can make Bradley take it down, issue a statement." "You don't get it." Marcus stopped stretching and faced her fully. "This isn't about one post. This is about what people will always think when they see us together. I've worked too hard to build a stable life for Ava to have it become entertainment for your family's social media." Claire felt tears sting her eyes. "So what does this mean?" It means I need space to think. It means we stop this before Ava gets more attached and ends up hurt. They finished the session in painful silence. Coach Luis gave Claire a respectful nod as she left, but didn't try to make conversation. On the subway ride home, Claire clutched the Charlotte's Web book Ava had signed, fighting the urge to cry in public. She'd found something real and beautiful, and it was slipping away because of her world's cruelty. The next morning, Claire ran alone by the river. Every bench reminded her of their conversations, every path of Marcus's gentle coaching and Ava's shy laughter. She drafted angry texts to Bradley, deleted them, called lawyers about social media takedowns, then hung up before completing the calls. Nothing felt right. Finally, she called her mother. "If the family trust conditions require me to manage who I love," Claire said without preamble, "I'll pause my access to the funds." Eleanor's shocked silence stretched for nearly a minute. "Claire, what on earth?" "I'm serious, Mother. If our money comes with strings attached to my personal life, I don't want it. This is about that trainer, isn't it? This is about being able to choose my own life." After hanging up, Claire texted Nina, "I need a public statement, 1 sentence, no drama, no explanations. Can you draft it?" "What do you want to say?" "The truth." Thursday afternoon found Claire standing outside the gym in a plain gray sweatshirt. No driver, no designer bag. She'd taken the subway like any other person, and her hands were shaking as she pushed through the glass doors. Marcus was training an elderly woman on the leg press machine. His voice was patient and encouraging, the same tone he'd used with Claire during their first session. When he saw her, his jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. 5 minutes? Claire asked quietly when his client finished. He nodded toward the lobby area. They sat on opposite ends of a small bench, the space between them feeling like an ocean. "I wanted to apologize," Claire began. "Not for the money. That was a legitimate loan between friends. But for not immediately calling the post what it was. A lie." Marcus said nothing, so she continued. "The apartment deposit was exactly that. A deposit you needed to hold while you waited for payday. You're paying me back Friday with interest, even though I told you not to. There's nothing shameful about helping a friend with timing." "It doesn't matter what the truth is," Marcus said finally. "It matters what people believe, what they'll always believe when they see us together. Then we change what people see." "How?" Claire pulled out her phone and showed him a draft text from Nina. "Loan repaid Friday as planned. We pay our own way." "That's it?" Marcus asked. "That's it. 1 sentence. No defending, no explaining, no fighting. Just truth." She put her phone away. "But Marcus, I need you to know something. I'm not embarrassed by what people think of us. I'm embarrassed by what my family's world did to us." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "I need time," he said finally. "Ava keeps asking when you're coming back for pancakes. She doesn't understand why everything changed. I don't want to hurt her, or you." "I know." He stood. "I have another client coming, but Claire, thank you for telling me about the statement." That evening, Claire sat in her apartment eating takeout Chinese food and feeling utterly alone. The Coney Island photo was still on her refrigerator, the three of them looking genuinely happy, like they belonged together. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Which kid fever med works fastest? Ava's burning up, and nothing's helping." Claire stared at the message. It was clearly meant for someone else, probably Coach Luis or another parent friend. Marcus must have been juggling his phone while dealing with a sick child and sent it to the wrong person. Without thinking, Claire grabbed her keys. The pharmacy was 6 blocks away. She bought children's Tylenol, ibuprofen, a digital thermometer, and popsicles for sore throats. Then she took a taxi to Marcus's address, which she remembered from the apartment deposit paperwork. His building was a modest brown stone in a quiet neighborhood. Claire found his apartment number and knocked softly. Marcus opened the door, looking exhausted, his hair disheveled, and worry lines creasing his forehead. When he saw Claire, his eyes widened. "You texted me by mistake," she said, holding up the pharmacy bag. "About fever medicine. I thought you might need these." He stared at her for a moment, then stepped aside. "She's burning up. I called the pediatrician, but they said to wait until morning unless it goes over 102. The apartment was small but warm, filled with Ava's artwork and photographs. Ava lay on the couch wrapped in a pink blanket, flushed and listless. "Hey, sweetheart," Claire said softly, kneeling beside the couch. "I brought you some things to help you feel better." Ava's eyes brightened slightly. "Claire, you came back?" "I did. Your dad texted me that you weren't feeling good." Claire opened the Charlotte's Web book. "Want me to read while your dad gives you medicine?" Marcus measured out children's Tylenol while Claire began reading about Wilbur the pig and Charlotte the spider. Ava's breathing slowed as she listened, her small hand creeping into Claire's. When Ava finally fell asleep, Claire continued reading in whispers. Marcus sat in the chair across from them, watching his daughter's fever break gradually. "You didn't have to do this," he said quietly. "Yes, I did." Claire closed the book carefully. "I care about her. I care about both of you." As she prepared to leave, Marcus caught her hand at the door. "The statement Nina's posting tomorrow. It goes live at 10 a.m., one sentence, then silence." He squeezed her hand once, briefly. "Thank you." Claire walked home through empty streets, feeling lighter than she had in days. She'd done something purely good, with no agenda except helping someone she loved. The next morning, Eleanor appeared at Claire's apartment with homemade soup and suspicious timing. "I brought chicken noodle," her mother said, bustling into the kitchen. "You sounded upset yesterday." Claire was toweling rain from her hair after her morning run, her first solo jog since the gym incident. She felt stronger than expected, like Marcus's training had built something lasting inside her. "I'm better now," Claire said. Eleanor noticed the Coney Island photo on the refrigerator. 3 faces, radiant and ordinary, caught in a moment of pure happiness. "Is this him?" Eleanor asked quietly. "That's Marcus and Ava." "She's beautiful." "She is. And so is he, Mom. Not just physically, his heart. The way he loves her, protects her, builds a life around what she needs." Eleanor studied the photo for a long time. "Tell me about last night. You came home very late." Claire explained about the accidental text, the pharmacy run, reading to Ava while her fever broke. She didn't embellish or defend, just told the simple truth. "You ran out in the rain to help a sick child," Eleanor said slowly. "I ran out to help my friend's sick child." "No," Eleanor said, still looking at the photo. "You ran out to help your family." The words hung in the air between them. Eleanor turned to face her daughter. "Is he kind to you when no one's watching?" "He's the kindest person I've ever known." Eleanor nodded once, decisively. "Then start there." She left the soup and headed for the door. At the threshold, she paused. "Claire, family isn't about bloodline or bank accounts. It's about who shows up when you need them." Nina's post went live at exactly 10 a.m. "Loan repaid Friday as planned. We pay our own way." No tags, no hashtags, no explanations. The gossip account that had amplified Bradley's post ignored the statement completely. Truth wasn't entertaining enough. Within hours, the drama faded into the background noise of social media. Claire blocked Bradley's number and declined 3 calls from relatives wanting details. Marcus thanked Nina with a simple text. "Appreciated." By afternoon, the storm had passed.
Saturday brought an unexpected text from Marcus. Laundry day, cartoons, meal prep. Want to join the real schedule? Claire stared at the message for 10 minutes before responding. Yes. She stopped at the grocery store and bought ingredients for the kid-friendly smoothie recipe the hotel's sous chef had mentioned. Then she took the subway to Marcus's neighborhood, nervous and hopeful. Marcus opened the door wearing an old t-shirt and jeans with a hole in one knee. Ava sat at the kitchen table, sorting tiny socks by color, completely recovered from her fever. Claire! Ava jumped up and hugged her legs. Dad said you might come help with boring stuff. Boring stuff can be the best stuff, Claire said, hugging her back. They spent the afternoon in comfortable domesticity. Claire took the lightest job, washing berries for smoothies, while Marcus and Ava folded laundry with an efficiency born of long practice. Ava showed Claire how to fold tiny leggings into perfect squares, explaining the system with serious concentration. Small clothes go in the small pile, medium clothes in the medium pile, Ava instructed. Dad's clothes are too big, so he does those himself. Claire burned the first batch of whole wheat toast and made everyone laugh. Marcus rescued the second batch while teaching her to recognize the exact shade of golden brown that meant perfect. They ate lunch on the couch, watching cartoons and sharing the smoothies Claire had made. Ava fell asleep between them during the second episode, her head on Marcus's lap and her feet stretched toward Claire. This is nice, Marcus said softly, running his fingers through his daughter's hair. It's everything, Claire replied. They looked at each other across the space where Ava slept, something settling between them that felt like home. Sunday morning brought redemption. Nina posted Claire's statement exactly as planned. The response was underwhelming in the best possible way. No engagement, no drama, just a simple fact that killed the story through pure boredom. Claire and Marcus met that afternoon for a walk in Central Park. No paparazzi followed, no cameras flashed. They were just two people navigating the complicated territory between friendship and something deeper. I owe you an apology, Marcus said as they found a quiet bench overlooking the reservoir. I should have trusted that you'd handle the situation. You were protecting Ava. I understand that completely. But I also should have trusted us. What we're building. Claire took his hand. So what are we building? I want steady, ordinary days, Marcus said. I want Sunday pancakes and homework help and bedtime stories. I want Ava to have the kind of stability I never had growing up. I want that too. All of it. Even the unglamorous parts, the tantrums and sick days and endless loads of laundry. Claire thought about the previous afternoon, the simple joy of folding small socks and burning toast together. Especially those parts. Marcus lifted their joined hands and kissed her knuckles. Then we keep it small and true. We build something that can't be broken by gossip or family pressure or other people's opinions. How do we do that? We show up every day for each other and for Ava. We make promises we can keep, and we keep the promises we make. They sealed it with a kiss that tasted like promise and possibility, surrounded by families feeding ducks and children learning to ride bikes. Just another couple in love on a Sunday afternoon in New York. 2 months later, Claire stood at the starting line of a neighborhood 5K race, wearing a simple running shirt and shorts she'd bought at a sporting goods store near Marcus's apartment. No designer labels, no photographer following her movements, just a woman about to run her first real race. You got this, coach, Ava called from the sidelines, holding a handmade sign decorated with glitter and crayon drawings. Go, Claire! Marcus jogged in place beside her, grinning. Remember what we practiced. Your pace, not anyone else's. What if I'm slow? Then we'll be slow together. The starting gun fired, and they began moving with the crowd of weekend runners.
Claire found her rhythm quickly. The breathing pattern Marcus had taught her. The steady footfall that had become second nature over months of dawn training sessions. She'd expected to feel nervous or self-conscious, but instead, she felt free. The early morning air was crisp, the other runners were encouraging, and Marcus stayed beside her without making it obvious he was matching her pace. "How you feeling?" he asked as they rounded the first mile marker. "Strong," Claire said, surprised by how true it was. "Really strong?" They passed a group of teenagers cheering for everyone, then an elderly man walking his dog who clapped for each runner. At the halfway point, Claire spotted familiar faces in the crowd. Eleanor stood next to Nina, both women bundled in fall coats and holding coffee cups. Her mother caught her eye and smiled, a real smile, not the practiced one she used for photos. "Your cheering section's growing," Marcus observed. After the race, they gathered at their usual diner for celebratory pancakes. Claire had finished in the middle of the pack, exactly where she'd hoped to be. No trophies, no fanfare, just the satisfaction of completing something she'd set out to do. Ava insisted on signing the race bib like an autograph, adding her name next to Claire's finishing time with careful 7-year-old handwriting. "Now it's official," Ava declared. "You're a real runner." Eleanor joined them for coffee, looking slightly out of place in the casual diner, but making an effort to fit in. She asked Ava about school and listened attentively to a long story about a classroom hamster named Mr. Whiskers. "Thank you for coming," Claire told her mother quietly. "I wouldn't have missed it." Eleanor squeezed her daughter's hand. "You looked happy out there, really happy." Nina raised her coffee mug. "To small victories and steady progress. To family," Marcus added, looking around the table. "To promises kept," Claire finished. Their mugs clinked together in the warm din of the weekend breakfast crowd. That afternoon, Claire and Marcus walked through Prospect Park while Ava played on the playground. They'd settled into this routine: weekend mornings for family activities, afternoon walks for just the two of them while Ava burned off energy on swings and slides. "I have something to tell you," Marcus said as they found their favorite bench. Claire felt her stomach flutter with old anxiety. "What?" "Luis offered me a partnership in the gym. Nothing huge, just a small ownership stake in exchange for taking on more training responsibilities and helping him expand the youth programs." "Marcus, that's wonderful. It means I can build something lasting. For Ava, for the community. Your dad's grant helped keep the doors open, but this could help us really grow." Claire leaned against his shoulder. "What did you tell Luis?" "I told him yes, but I also told him I wanted to talk to you first." "Why?" Marcus was quiet for a moment, watching Ava navigate the monkey bars with fierce determination. "Because decisions like this affect more than just me now. Because I want you to be part of planning the future." The weight of what he was saying settled over Claire like a warm blanket. He wasn't just telling her about a job opportunity. He was asking her to be part of building something together. "What would the youth programs look like?" she asked. "After-school fitness classes for kids who can't afford gym memberships. Maybe some basic nutrition education, homework help while parents work out. Creating a safe space where families can be healthy together." "I love that idea. Would you want to help? I know you mentioned missing teaching, and this could be a way to work with kids again without leaving your hotel responsibilities completely." Claire sat up to look at him properly. "You want me to help run youth programs?" "I want us to build something meaningful together. Something that lasts." Before she could answer, Ava ran over, breathless and excited. "Dad, Claire, did you see me go all the way across? I didn't fall once." "We saw," Marcus said, catching her in a hug. "You're getting stronger every week. Like Claire did with running." "Exactly like Claire." That evening,
Claire sat in her apartment making lists. Programs they could create, funding sources they could tap, ways to combine her business experience with Marcus's training expertise and genuine love for helping people. For the first time in years, she was planning something that excited her instead of just fulfilling obligations. 3 weeks later, Claire stood in the hotel conference room presenting a proposal to the board of directors. The quarterly reports were finished, but she'd asked for additional time to discuss a new community partnership. The Whitmore Foundation has always supported youth development, she began, clicking to a slide showing smiling children at various programs. I'm proposing we create a more hands-on initiative. She outlined the plan, partnering with local gyms to provide after-school fitness and nutrition programs for underserved kids. The foundation would provide funding and curriculum development, while the gyms provided space and expertise. We're not just writing checks, Claire explained. We're building relationships with communities, creating sustainable programs that teach kids healthy habits, while giving working parents safe, affordable childcare options. The board asked practical questions about costs and measurable outcomes. Claire had answers for all of them, thanks to weeks of planning with Marcus and research with Nina. The pilot program would start at Downtown Fitness, she concluded. The owner has agreed to donate space 3 afternoons a week, and we've identified a qualified program coordinator. She didn't mention that the coordinator was Marcus, or that she planned to volunteer as a reading tutor during homework time. Those details weren't necessary for board approval. It sounds like a worthy investment, said board member Mrs. Chen. When would you like to begin? January, right after the new year, when kids and families are thinking about fresh starts. The vote was unanimous. After the meeting, Nina cornered Claire in the hallway. Very smooth presentation, she said with a knowing smile. I especially liked how you didn't mention your personal investment in Downtown Fitness's success. The program stands on its own merits. Of course it does, but it doesn't hurt that you're planning a future with the program coordinator. Claire felt her cheeks warm. We're taking things slow? Slow is good, sustainable is better. Nina's expression grew more serious. Are you happy, Claire? Really happy? Claire thought about her answer. 6 months ago, she would have said she was fine, successful, managing. Now she woke up excited for dawn training sessions, looked forward to Sunday pancakes with Ava, spent evenings planning programs that could help real children instead of attending charity galas that felt like performance art. Yes, she said simply. I'm happy. The program launch in January exceeded everyone's expectations. 15 kids signed up for the first session, ranging from 6 to 12 years old. Claire arrived after work to find organized chaos. Children rotating between exercise stations Marcus had set up, then settling into quiet homework time with snacks she'd provided. Ava was there too, officially as a participant, but unofficially as Marcus's assistant. She demonstrated proper jumping jack form for the younger kids and helped Claire distribute pencils during study time. How's it going? Claire asked Marcus during a brief break. Better than I hoped. He gestured toward a corner where an 8-year-old boy was reading with intense concentration. That's Tyler. Mom works 2 jobs, no safe place for him after school. Yesterday, he told me this is the best part of his week. Claire watched Tyler sound out words carefully, his tongue poking out slightly in the same expression of concentration she'd seen in Ava. Something in her chest expanded with pure satisfaction. This is what I was meant to do, she said quietly. What we were meant to do, Marcus corrected, catching her hand briefly. By March, they'd added a second location and had a waiting list for both programs. Claire found herself leaving work earlier to help with homework time, staying later to clean up equipment, spending weekends researching nutrition curricula with Marcus. Eleanor attended their first program graduation, a small ceremony where kids received certificates for completing 6 weeks of healthy habit goals. She sat in the back with other parents and grandparents, applauding when Tyler read his essay about getting strong like my coach Marcus.
I'm proud of you,
Eleanor told Claire afterward. This is real impact, not just charity theater. It feels different than writing checks. Because you're building relationships, not just funding them. Eleanor watched Marcus help kids pack their backpacks, answering questions and giving high fives. He's good for you, both of you, him and Ava. They are. Your father would have loved this program, and them. Claire felt tears prick her eyes. I think so too. That weekend brought the culmination of everything they'd been building. Claire woke up at 5:15, not to an alarm, but to natural rhythm. She found Marcus already awake beside her, reading on his phone to avoid disturbing her sleep. They'd been staying over at each other's apartments more frequently as spring arrived, creating a routine that worked for all of them. Ava had adapted beautifully, treating it like an extended sleepover where everyone had breakfast together.
Morning,
Claire whispered.
morning. Ready for our sunrise run?
Always. They dressed quietly and walked to the river path as the city woke up around them. Other early runners nodded in passing. They'd become part of the regular dawn crowd, just another couple maintaining their health together.
I've been thinking,
Marcus said as they started their warm-up stretches.
about what? About making this official.
Claire's heart skipped.
The running partnership? The life partnership.
He stopped stretching and turned to face her fully. The sunrise painted everything golden. The water, the bridge in the distance. His face as he looked at her with complete certainty. I love you, he said simply. I love your determination and your kindness and the way you fold Ava's laundry like it's the most important job in the world. I love how you show up, for us, for the kids in our program, for yourself. Marcus, I'm not asking for an answer today. I'm just telling you where I am, where we are, if you want to be. Claire felt something settle in her chest, like a puzzle piece finally, finding its proper place. I love you too, she said. I love your patience and your strength and the way you see the best in everyone. I love that you taught me what steady feels like. They kissed there on the running path as joggers and dog walkers moved around them. Just another couple in love on a Sunday morning in New York.
So what happens now?
Claire asked.
Now we run,
Marcus said, grinning.
Then we go home and make pancakes with Ava. Then we plan next week's youth program session. Then we do it all again tomorrow.
That sounds perfect.
It sounds real.
They started running together, matching each other's pace naturally after months of practice. Behind them, the city continued waking up, millions of people starting their own days, pursuing their own dreams, building their own versions of family and happiness. Claire and Marcus ran toward the sunrise, side by side, exactly where they belonged. Later that morning, they sat around the kitchen table in Marcus's apartment, sharing pancakes and making plans. Ava had syrup on her chin and a new joke ready.
Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything? That's a good one.
Claire laughed, wiping Ava's face with a napkin.
I've been practicing,
Ava said proudly. Then, more seriously,
Claire, are you going to stay forever?
The question hung in the air. Claire looked at Marcus, who nodded encouragingly. I'd like to, Claire said carefully. If that's okay with you. It's okay with me, but you have to promise. What do you want me to promise? That you'll still come to pancakes even when you're old, and that you'll help me practice new jokes, and that you won't leave even if Dad burns the toast. Claire felt tears gathering in her eyes. I promise all of that. Good, Ava said, satisfied. She turned to Marcus.
Dad, you have to promise too. What's my promise, Princess? Promise you'll keep making Claire happy.
And promise you'll teach her how to make pancakes that don't stick to the pan. Marcus laughed. I promise both of those things. Then we're official, Ava declared, taking another bite of pancakes. Outside the kitchen window, Sunday morning continued its gentle pace. Neighbors walked dogs, families headed to playgrounds, couples shared coffee on stoops. Ordinary life in all its beautiful, unremarkable glory. Inside, 3 people who had found each other made promises they intended to keep, surrounded by the sweet smell of maple syrup and the warm light of home. It was exactly as perfect as it was simple. And that simplicity, Claire realized, was what made it true.